Hey, this is Vu, and today I'm going to be talking about how to use your movement to get more kills, or more importantly, to stay alive for as long as possible. And this is probably the biggest mistake by far that I see that's really keeping people in this MGE and below range. And whenever I've seen a demo of Nova players or Nova and below, this is probably the biggest thing that they all have in common. And it's really becoming a turret, or you can think of it almost kind of like what a bot will look like when you fight one, at least an easy bot, because what they will do is they'll kind of run around the map, or they'll be holding an angle, and as soon as they see a player, they just shoot and stand still, and they either get the kill or they die. There's no ability for this bot to kind of think to itself, am I winning this? If so, I should continue or I should back off. And there's no movement between shots either. So it kind of ends up being just whichever one of you has a better engagement or better aim wins the fight. And what you want to be doing is trying to get out of this mindset as much as possible and focus on how to win these gunfights, and if you're not winning these gunfights, how to stay alive rather than committing. So it's really about trying to commit a little bit less. So this is one of those movement fundamentals that people don't really talk about, I feel like, that much. They kind of mention you need to work on your movement, but they don't mention this specifically. And so what it is you want to get into a gunfight, and around bullet 5 to 7, you recognize, am I winning this gunfight or am I losing this gunfight? And if you're winning, you're going to fall back and basically secure yourself a second life, where most of your opponents and teammates probably aren't doing the same. And just by adding this in, you're probably going to see a big boost in your gameplay. Now, the important thing to note here is to be able to do this, you need to have fairly solid movement mechanics to begin with, or at least the basics of movement mechanics, where you're peaking angles one by one so that you are near cover as much as possible. Now, I see plenty of people that try and stay near cover when possible. However, they don't add in this bit where they can actually fall back, so it's kind of irrelevant that they're near cover. Now, one of the other things I notice is that these players that are kind of turning into these turrets is they'll be in the middle of the open, they'll get into a gunfight, and if their opponent does unpeak and then proceed to repeak, they will be standing completely still. They won't have moved at all. This is not what you want to be doing if your opponents are ever unpeaking and repeaking, or they're doing anything weird on you. You want to be trying to throw them off. So what you want to be doing is thinking a little bit less about just what you're doing, because I think this is a problem where players kind of think, how do I get this kill, rather than how do I stop my opponent from killing you, or killing me, sorry. And this is one of those things where you want to be able to focus on both. You want to be able to make it as easy as possible for you to kill your opponent while making it as hard as possible for your opponent to kill you. So a good example of this would be if you planted the bomb here, or the opponent planted the bomb here, and you know they've gone towards CT spawn. What you often see in these lower ranks is you're going to see someone fake defuse, sit on top of the bomb, and this player over here is probably just going to peek out and either quick peek, or he's just going to peek right out and pre-fire you, and it's going to be a pretty easy kill. What you want to be doing is, rather than focusing on, okay, my enemy's going to peek here, how do I kill him? Think, how do I throw my opponent off a little bit? So you fake the bomb and then peek wide, so that if they try and do this peek towards the bomb, they're going to have to flick towards you, and they're going to have a very hard time actually finding that kill. Now, this is also applicable in this situation here, where if you were at the terrorist side of this, you peek out, take some shots, this guy unpeaks for whatever reason, for example, if he's an opper, then you want to go a little bit wide so that when he peeks out, he's kind of showing more of his body than he intends, and you'll have an easier shot to kill him, and he'll have a hard time shooting at you. Now, this is probably one of the reasons I think ops seem so overpowered at these lower ranks, because when you see an opper peek, he can repeak over and over and over, and his opponents are constantly in the same exact area as when he peeked out before. They're not doing this little bit to throw him off. They're not trying to take an off angle. Either they're standing still and waiting for him to repeak, or they're running for cover. There's no in between where they're trying to make it hard for him to not die when he goes for that repeak. And of course, this also, ops being a little bit strong, also includes the fact that riflers have trouble hitting heads at these lower ranks. So it's not just about that, but I think that's probably one of the bigger reasons that ops are so strong in those lower ranks. And so anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped. Boomio.com, referral link below. Boomio.com, referral link below. Boomio.com, referral link below. Oh my god! Boomio.com, referral link below!